you notice by my bling, I did rather well in college. That's the end of my story. I kludged my way through my collegiate career. Even on those last days, when I was going in to get some of these goodies and ribbons and falderall that I'm currently wearing, these 2 gold ribbons and cords, what I had been told by someone who wasn't supposed to tell that I'd won magna cum laude, and I was way up there in my class, and I was really excited about that. So I told everybody I was magna cum laude. Now, when I get there, the gal says, you have summa cum laude. Anybody ever have that dream where you feel like you're not wearing your underwear kind of thing? No, except Oscar, everyone. Okay. Okay. My face turned red, I'm horrified, and the girl says, you just turned all red. I said, well, I told everyone I got magna cum laude. And she said, you do know that summa is the highest. It's like the summit. It's the sumo wrestler. I went, oh. And she said, honestly, if you don't know what it is, you sort of don't deserve it. I couldn't have agreed with her more. Absolutely. And that's how my career started in college. I went to college after my last child graduated from high school and was gone. So when I entered college for the first time, I had gone to high school, summer school, to dekludge, as it were, my mathematics skills, because I realized I did not know a numerator from a denominator and thought I needed to do some assistant pre-math. My fellow peeps in high school, which was just too much fun. My fellow peeps, really and truly in high school, I'm sitting there, there's one kid who's stuffing paper into his mouth. Just, and I'm watching him do this, and I asked the teacher, excuse me, Stevie over here is stuffing paper in his mouth. And she said, is he choking? I said, no. He says, if he chokes, let me know what's going on, otherwise I don't care. So I thought to myself, this is why I want to become a teacher. I think she should have given Stevie a little bit more attention than that, rather than, we could have even gone through how many pieces of paper can Stevie stuff in his mouth per, we could have done a whole math problem about that, but we didn't. So I thought I was really prepared when I showed up first day, and my husband was so sweet. He got me one of those little yellow lunch boxes that said Tweety Bird in it, and it was just so adorable. I was excited and terrified all at the same time, and I had a sandwich and all that stuff, so off I go to school first day. And I walk into my math class, and I know I'm prepared. And this is what the board says. Mind you, I know inverse operation a little bit. Whoops, can I do this? Blonde? Okay. I walk in, I sit down, and she says, well, we're going to first go over the Fibonacci sequence. We're going to find the number of rabbits at space number 14 in the sequence. My horror knew no bounds at this point in time. I don't have a clue. I sat there very quietly, did like you do in 3rd grade, and you hide behind the person in front of you. Then she says, we're moving on to discovering the formulation for slope, which is, of course, rise over run. Kyle, come on out and show us what to do. I just left. I just left. I walked out of the class and thought, I'll catch this next time because I need bonehead math. This was the beginning of my career to this. So I sat down and I thought to myself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to really, really look at what, as an adult, at what is it required of a college student at the end. So while I'm doing this, I discover really and truly, I think I could get by with just 2 subjects. So I pick the hokey pokey and that Tilly Lewis thing that ended up being a book. So for those of you that know me, you know I wrote a biography of Tilly Lewis, the Tomato Queen, and that all started from wanting a paper that I could take from class to class English history all the way through and develop this process and become, well, to here. This is what I wanted. So The hokey pokey was too much fun. The hokey pokey began with, I've got a t-shirt that says whole self, and I want you to imagine whole self the way I can do it. So whole self here, and I rip off this thing and do the whole hokey pokey. Now mind you, the history of the hokey pokey, because I'm a historian, the history of the hokey pokey began as a very naughty dance routine in the alpine area of Idaho. That's how it began. Those wealthy folks that were getting out of World War II had to have something drunken and fun to do. So they weren't just putting their whole left hand in, right hand out. They weren't doing that. They were putting body parts that shame, know your name in doing this thing. And it became a children's deal afterward. But that's how it began. So I had a wonderful time in college. So by the time I was finished with my college, my teachers were thrilled I was gone, because I also discovered that you're not supposed to raise your hand and say, Professor, because I knew a lot more than some of the professors who were 10, 12 years younger than me, at least. So I discovered that this is something you shouldn't do. It's another clue. Do not raise your hand and say, Professor, number one, is this going to be on the test? And number two, do we answer your way or the right way? I know they hate that. They hate that. So that was kind of the things that we had going on. So by the time I graduated at the top of my class. I did the hokey pokey on stage at California State University, Stanislaus. I graduated with Tilly Lewis as the research competition thing, and my husband gave me this card, which is really my reward. It says, good things happen to those who wait. And you open up the card and it says, but great things happen to those who get off their butts and go for it.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and of course Kyle. Kyle, when she's really advanced in speaking now, she's a good speaker, and you know that any speech she gives is not going to be a kludge. And this one was not. The requirements of the speech are really quite extensive. It's the final humorous speech in the manual, and it is that the purpose of this project is for the speaker to present a 5 to 7 minute humorous speech. The speech's primary purpose is to entertain, while the secondary purpose is to make a point. The speech should be based on one theme or subject, with all humorous stories and or jokes related to that subject. The humor should come from exaggeration. The speaker is to use body language and voice to enhance the speech. Wow, that's a lot. And really, she did all of this in this speech and did it very well. Some in particular were quite good. Of course, the story itself revolved around her time when she was getting her college degree, and so that was the theme aspect of her speech, which she built around everything else and told numerous stories throughout her college time that related to ultimately becoming a graduate of the college. One of the things that you need to use in this speech is body language. Fellow Toastmasters, there was no one better on this entire planet than Cal Wood at using body language in a speech. Learn from this lady, because she's got it down. Okay? Started with the bling and all the ribbons. She walked in the door and I said, oh my God. I have to evaluate that lady today. But it was a purpose for the things that she had on, and she used the items during the course of her talk. So it was very effective in that regard. You smiled, particularly when you were trying to make a point that you wanted us to laugh. You smiled kind of like this. So we had to laugh. And you did. The only body language suggestion I would have is you talked a lot about the hokey pokey, but maybe you could have demonstrated the original hokey pokey. You did the hokey pokey and you turned yourself around, and that would have been even funnier. And you would have gotten more laughs out of that, because I'm sure you wouldn't have done it in any way other than with a lot of exaggeration knowing you. So it would have made it even funnier. Vocal variety and voice, again, no one better at using voice to do a speech like this. So very, very well done in that regard. Now, how can you improve with this speech? Well, my one comment, the first comment I had is you had a lot of examples of things that went on during your college time, and most of them got a laugh, some did not. I didn't really feel they were connected directly. There wasn't any logical following that one led to the next or that they built through your college career. And for an example of how you might have done that, a couple of years ago you gave a speech about getting tickets and waving and smiling, and you did that in that speech. You built on each one. And we were rolling in the aisles. I mean, everybody was in tears. We were laughing so hard at that speech. And that was the difference. You had things strung together in a logical sense that rose to a climax at the end, and this one did not. It just had a series of things. So as a result, when I'm trying to figure out what was the point of your speech, make a point, it wasn't clear to me. Was the point that this is how you became an author to write Telly Lewis, or was the point that, hey, I graduated from college, and it wasn't really clear to me what that point was. But overall, I don't know that there's anybody in this room that can do a better job at this kind of a speech than my friend and our president, Carl Woods. Congratulations.